Hi, guys. Today I wanted to talk about my infertility journey. Just for context, I am 37 years old now. Um, and I started trying to get pregnant around when I was like 32, around there, give or take. And then my husband and we tried for about 2 years and it didn't happen. And so, but 2 years trying, but it wasn't like, it was kind of like, oh, if it happens, and it'll be okay. It was more like we weren't taking any action to prevent it from happening. Just kind of thought that it would, and leaving it up to God for it to happen, right? And then one time, I went in for a gynecologist appointment, and I forget why I went, but they had to do an ultrasound and they found out that I had large fibroids. And I remember the ultrasound tech telling me that, it's probably going to be very hard for me to get pregnant because of my fibroids, where they were, how big they were. I forget how many I had. I want to say maybe it was just one at that time. Later I had like three or something, but at that time I think it was just one. And I remember just like as soon as she said that, I had never been like, oh my God, I need to get pregnant immediately. Like, scheduling it and anything like that at all. I hadn't been like that. But then when she said that, I just started crying at the still with her, having her wand or whatever. And I was just crying and I came home and just I was very sad to think that the option of having kids was kind of like being taken away from me. And so I came home and I think my husband was working that day. So I talked to him the next day and then we decided that I should probably go get tested, like all the the exams that you do to try to get pregnant on your own, and go talk to an OBGYN actually about, like, it's not happening, whatever. And so I went to my first appointment with an OBGYN, and this doctor was very dismissive, didn't care about me at all. I was crying again. I don't know if I cried at the office, but I cried shortly thereafter if it wasn't while I was there. Pretty much they were like, no, everyone has fibroids, which is true. A lot of people have fibroids. But it wasn't even about the fibroid. It was about the fact that I was telling her that I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to have kids because my husband and I had been having unprotected sex and nothing had happened. She was just very dismissive of my experience and my feelings and just treated me. And I remember her feeling like she kind of wanted the appointment to be over because she was very busy. That's what it felt like. And so then, but what she said was, in order to be diagnosed with anything, or you have to be actually trying for a year. So I felt like we kind of had, but not really, like I wasn't timing it, I wasn't checking my ovulation or anything like that. So that's the only important information I got from that appointment, that it had to be a year of you trying, like actually trying, and it not happening. Because the window, I mean, you think people get pregnant easily, but actually, and I'm so happy for the people that do, but actually, like the percentage, the chance that you have to actually get pregnant in a month is very small, um, which is kind of shocking how you see some people get pregnant. But anyway, so what we got from that, when I told that information to my husband, we kind of decided that we were gonna, instead of waiting a year, since we're already older and we kind of have been trying, though not really, but kinda. We should just wait like a little bit less, or five, or I think like 5 months or 6 months with that. I think when I went to the doctor, it was October, and then I remember we were like, okay, let's try for a little bit. Actually, really, really trying, and we did. I remember I got so many things. I got like ovulation kits. I got like an Ava bracelet. Have you? I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It's like a bracelet that tests like your temperature in the morning. I got a thermometer to take my basal temperature. I think is what it's called. I met with someone who will teach me when I was ovulating, depending on my cervical mucus. I mean, I did a bunch of stuff to make sure that um, we were optimizing the chances of me getting pregnant, which didn't happen. So around March or April of the next year, I decided to meet with um, an IVF doctor. And so we did. And the first thing that they had us do was do a bunch of testing. I had to do a bunch of testing, like blood work, but also more like intrusive tests or and like procedures. Um, an HSG, I think it's called, something that like kind of makes sure that your fallopian tubes are working and like that the egg could travel through it or across it or whatever. I did that. They did ultrasounds. During the ultrasounds, they told me that my fibroids actually weren't the problem because of the position where they were at, thankfully. But we did a lot of testing. We did genetic testing. We did everything you could think of. First to find out if there was like a reason why I wasn't getting pregnant, and then um, to move forward if we needed to with any kind of, treatment, IVF or IUI or whatever it may be. My husband also got tested, and we both did our work. Um, and then all the tests came back negative. We did. There was nothing wrong with me or my husband. Um, just it wasn't happening, and that's when they diagnosed me with undiagnosed fertility. I think no, unexplained infertility, which feels like a heavy thing. This is kind of why I wanted to make this video. It's because it's mostly because going through fertility struggles is very hard. Very, very, very hard. I was actually surprised how it becomes so all consuming. All you think about, and well, hopefully, maybe not everyone goes through the same experience as I did, but for me, it was like I would think about it all the time. And you know, when my period was coming, I was like, oh my God, is it going to come this year? I'm spotting. Could this be a pregnancy? Could it not? It becomes very kind of like a mind fuck. Like it's hard. It's very hard to go through fertility struggles. I don't wish that upon anyone. Um, and it's disappointing to get your period, to tell your partner, oh, I got my period. Like I remember I will cry sometimes just telling him, that I got my period, and the disappointment, that comes with it. And I know that so many women suffer um, in silence. And, if you're watching this, you're not alone. um, but it feels lonely. It feels lonely, especially if you don't really have people going through it or you don't know anyone, because so many people are going through it, but a lot of people keep it to themselves, which is unfortunate. I was sharing my struggles, and I'm so happy that I did, because I think in a way it helps some of my friends that unfortunately had struggles later on. But anyways, let me backtrack a little bit to my story. So they couldn't figure out anything wrong with us. So the I forget exactly what her title is. I think it's a reproductive endocrinologist, which is like the IVF doctor. Um, she pretty much told us that our chances of getting pregnant without any treatment, meaning like IVF or IUI, were very, very slow. I think she said 3 to 7%. which was devastating. And I felt like, I think I was 34 by this point. I felt like the clock was ticking and I felt like I needed to make a decision. And, um, and I think we decided not to do anything, which sounds kind of funny because now that I'm remembering, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do. Oh no, this was in between the time. The timeline is kind of fuzzy, but I remember like I went and I also did acupuncture for some months, and I did a bunch of stuff, just hoping and praying and wishing. I was vegetarian and I went back to eating meat. It was a lot of changes, hoping for something that ultimately came, through a different route, which is okay. Um, but anyways, so our doctor told us that, and then we decided, I'm not sure when, how long after, we decided that we were gonna do IVF. We were gonna move forward with it. And oh yes, okay, so this is what happened. We decided that we were gonna do IVF, but we knew the process was hard, because it is, or at least it was for me. And we knew we were gonna do it, but we said, okay, we're gonna do IVF next year. Let's enjoy this year, just the two of us. We have a cruise coming up. So, we're gonna have so much fun on our cruise. We're gonna hopefully get pregnant on our own. So, but if not, we're gonna start in January. That was January 2024 that we were gonna start. So all this testing and all, a horrible year. 2023 was a horrible year, because even if you do something, you're sad, you're thinking about it. It's always in the back of your head, in the back of your mind. You're always thinking about it, and it's very sad when you see people that get pregnant. I remember my sister got pregnant and she told me, and I was so happy for her, but it was so sad for me too. I was like, oh my God, I want to be pregnant too. It was hard. Um, so it's hard. It's a very hard process to go through many different aspects about it. You feel lonely even though your partner is supportive, or in your friends and your family, because everyone was, but still, it was very, very hard. And it was very surprising to me. And I said this already, but it was just surprising how it takes over your mind, because it does. But, anyways, okay, so let's fast forward to January 2024. Come back from the cruise, and we're like, okay, it didn't happen. We're doing IVF. And so we started the process. So if you're not familiar with IVF, and this is not, I mean, don't take my word for it. This is just how I understood it. IVF is broken down into two parts. The first part is kind of like when you freeze your eggs. And then the second part is when you prepare your uterus for the transfer, which means when they put the embryo inside of you to get pregnant. So the first part, both parts were really hard for me. I've never liked needles, and if you know anything about IVF, oh, and by the way, we had two options. We could either do IVF or IUIs, but we decided to go the IVF route because we didn't want to waste any more time, and this is what was going to give us. It had the higher chance of working, so this is what we went with. So after getting all the testing done, we were ready for IVF. Not mentally totally but ready in every other way. The shots were hard for me, giving myself shots. Like my mind couldn't comprehend like why I had to give myself shots to get pregnant. Like it's like a weird thing, and I don't know if you guys can understand what I'm saying, but just giving myself a shot felt so. And I know people give themselves shots every day, if you have diabetes or whatever it may be, but it didn't make sense, and I was so upset about it, and it was scary for me. I didn't like it. I didn't like doing it. It felt scary. Just piercing my skin with a needle was so foreign to me. But, I would cry every day pretty much. And I'm not sure if it's just because of how scared I was or because of the hormones or maybe a combination of both. I remember calling my mom pretty much every day if my husband wasn't here, because my husband is not here every day. I love it when he was and when he is, but when he was, because if someone gives you the shots, it's so much easier. Oh my God, it's so much easier. I would just close my eyes, let him do it. Okay, good. I'm good. But when you have to do it yourself, in my opinion, it's harder. So if you're going through it, if you're preparing yourself, if you can get someone, hopefully your partner, to do it, to give you the shots, then you're golden and it's way better. Um, so I think I was on Menopur, something like that, Gano F pen, and then I was on something else. It was three of them, but I don't remember what the other one was. But pretty much for the egg, um, for the freezing of the eggs part, the first part of IVF, um, I pretty much just had to give myself shots at night. I think it was like 3 shots at night in the belly, and which was hard. And then at the end you do a trigger shot, and a trigger shot just is just a shot that you give yourself at the end before you go in for them to get your eggs out of your body. And so this part is very nerve wracking because you don't know how it's gonna go, right? You go into the egg retrieval, which is when they get your eggs, and you don't know, and you hope that you get a lot of eggs, but you really don't know. And I wasn't thinking that I was gonna get a lot because if you have issues already, then you don't think that you have a lot. That's what I was thinking. But anyways, I'm not going into like super detail about IVF because then this will be too long. But pretty much the worst part is the waiting because you have to wait a lot. They take out the eggs. I think it has some. I think they got 9 eggs. But then that week you have to wait for phone calls every like couple of days when they're gonna tell you, okay, you got 9 eggs, but only this many matured, only this many made it 5 days, only this many. They have to make an embryo. So they put together your egg with the sperm to make an embryo, and not all the eggs make embryos. And so there's a lot of attrition and a lot of waiting for phone calls because this happens over, I think, a week. Um, and at the end, I had 3 embryos, and then you have to wait 30 days. I think it was 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, because I wanted to get them genetically tested, which I did. And that was very scary for me because, I 3 is not a lot, though you only need one. And um, I was hopeful and praying that all 3 of them would make it back, and they called me and they told me that only 2 made it. And okay, so I was like, okay, well, and it's a hard decision because I had to make the decision of preparing my uterus for the second part of IVF before knowing if I had any embryos that were good. Good, they were all good, but that were okay genetically tested after the genetic test. And thankfully I did. Thank you, God, because I had to. And so this second part was for me the hardest. And now I say this, but I say this knowing now, I didn't know this then, that not everyone's protocol is different. So for example, my friend that just went through IVF, her second part was the easiest part for her. So if you're watching this, don't get scared. Everyone has like a different protocol. She didn't even need to do shots in her butt, which to me was the hardest part. So why it was so hard for me, the second part, was because I had to give myself progesterone and oil on my butt with a big needle. So for the first part, you do shots in your on your belly with a needle that is like kind of like this. But the oil needle is kind of like actually I don't remember exactly how big it is, but it feels like it's huge. And it's oil, so it's not like you can go with a plunger like super quick. You have to inject yourself and then take it out slowly. If not, the oil drips everywhere. I don't know if that makes any sense, but every day that I had to give myself that shot, I would cry every day, every day. So that was very hard for me. Again, the days that my husband would give it to me, you know, was okay. But the days that I had to give it to myself, I had to talk myself up, give myself a little pep talk. And it was hard. It was hard. It was very hard. Not only because I was so afraid of those needles, but also because those hormones, because it wasn't only though the shots in the butt. I also had to wear patches, and I was taking some other shots in the belly, which by that point the shots in the belly was like nothing, like, oh my god, I can do this all the time, but please no butt shots. Oh, experience. But the hormones affect really, really affected me during the second part, and that was also what was very hard. I felt like my hair was falling off. I gained weight. I was very bloated. I felt that I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm so ugly. I remember thinking that, like, oh my God, I'm so ugly. I would look at myself in the mirror and I would feel disgusting. My hair was falling off. I felt bloated. I felt uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable in a way that I never felt when I was pregnant. Like my uterus expanding and feeling so horrible. And it was just honestly very tough. Very, very tough. I had support from my husband, from my friends, from my family, my sister, my best friends, but it was tough. I remember one time my best friend drove, I live kind of far from her. She drove an hour and a half just so she could be with me for, you know, one night when I had to give myself shots. And little things like that, if you have a friend and you don't know how to help them, honestly, just be there for them. Be there for them because it makes a difference. Let them talk, ask them what you need, what they need, because it's a very tough thing to go through. But, anyways, okay, not to make it too long. Um, Thankfully, of course, as you guys know, if you see my other videos, it worked. My pregnancy, my frozen embryo transfer is what the second part is called. It's FET cycle. It worked. I'm so blessed. My baby, it stayed with me, and she grew and grew and grew. I was pregnant, and such a blessing, such a blessing. And you know, um, she is one now, and I'm we're actually gonna do it all over again. We've been trying to get pregnant again. Not trying to get pregnant again. It's kind of like the first time, like we're not timing it. I don't know when I'm ovulating, nothing like that. But we were like, okay, let's not take care of ourselves. If we get pregnant, we get pregnant, and it's good because always knew that we wanted more than one kid, one baby, at least two. We've always said, and so it hasn't happened. It didn't happen this time around either. But thankfully, I have my other embryo waiting for me, and we're moving forward with it. I'm actually, what's today? I'm actually 15 days away from starting my shots. So, and I'm going to be making videos about it and documenting it. So, if you're about to start an FET cycle, let's do it together. Um, but if you're not, whoever is watching this, if you're going through fertility struggles, there's no there's no right way of going through it. If you feel bad for crying every day, for crying out of nowhere, for being irritable, mad, sad, all the emotions, you're not alone. I went through it. It's hard. It is hard. I would say look into IVF. I would recommend it because of course it brought me my baby girl, and I'm so thankful and grateful, and kind of wish I had done it sooner. I kind of wish I had done it before the cruise, or I don't know. But it's all in God's timing, and it worked, and it was meant to be. And a year later, my baby girl was born in January, and I'm so incredibly grateful and blessed. And so I just wanted to share this, um, and I hope it helps someone out there. You're not alone, and it is hard. It is very hard. And if you're a friend and you know someone that is going through IVF and you don't know how to be there for them, you can ask your friend. You can send a text just saying, I don't know what to say. I don't know what you want to share. This is what I used to do too. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to share. Because sometimes I wouldn't like it when people would text me because let's say I was having a good day and someone would send me a text or ask me something about it, and I'll be like, oh my God. And I will start crying, and of course they're being nice and cute and I'm just being mean. Not mean, but you know. So if you have a friend, just, I'm here for you. Don't share anything you don't want to. I'm here for you. Do you want to get dinner? Do you need anything? Do you need support if they're going through IVF? Do you need support while giving yourself the shots? Who is giving you your shots? I think questions like that help so much. It really, 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 really does. And if you have any questions about anything, just let me know. And I'm an open book and I'm here to try to help everyone and anyone. So just ask me. All right. Thank you. I hope you enjoy this video. Bye.